Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up to support the electrification of transport and get the help you need to finance your own EV or clean energy future. And by Energy Sage. Visit the link in the description to find local verified solar experts, community projects, and heat pump specialists in your area. And by Atmos Financial. Bank better with a financial technology company that's powered by a portfolio of clean energy investments. Welcome back to another episode of TEN, Transport Evolved News. Thanks for joining me. Since we're now into the start of December, sales figures are starting to roll in for November, and in the US, some automakers were celebrating a good month. Hyundai, Kia and Honda set new record sales last month. In the case of Hyundai and Kia, this was helped on by their hybrid and EV portfolios. Hyundai's EV portfolio soared by 77% year-over-year, while Kia's EV range saw a 46% year-over-year increase in sales for the EV6, with the EV9, just introduced this year, also increasing in sales. Ford also had a great month, with its electric vehicle sales in the US totaling nearly 11,000 units, despite the F-150 Lightning not selling so well. This, however, paled into insignificance when compared with how Chinese automaker BYD fared in November, selling nearly 200,000 EVs during the month. Back in 2021, Audi revealed its Audi A6 e-Tron concept car in Shanghai, and this week the automaker celebrated its official launch. Packed to the brim with technology and built on the Volkswagen Group's PPE platform, the Audi A6 e-Tron comes in two main guises, a sportback and a wagon, called the Avant, with various configuration options available for each. At the entry-level end, there's the A6 e-Tron with rear-wheel drive and a 75.8 kilowatt-hour usable battery pack, priced from €62,800. At the other end of the lineup, each body-style variant gets an Audi S6 e-Tron variant with Audi Quattro all-wheel drive and upwards of 543 horses at the wheels. Early reviews are very positive, and those two should cross very nicely against the BMW i5 and Mercedes-Benz EQE. As Volkswagen tries to curb some of what have been some pretty big losses this year thanks to tough competition from Chinese EV companies, it has threatened job and pay cuts. Now, factory workers at 9 Volkswagen facilities in its home market of Germany have begun to take industrial action. On Monday this week, staff walked out for several hours at both EV and ICE production facilities in response to Volkswagen's plans to close at least 3 factories, resulting in thousands of job losses, while simultaneously slashing pay for those it keeps employed. Volkswagen is currently in talks with labour union IG Metall, a union that represents more than 120,000 Volkswagen factory workers. Right now, both sides seem at an impasse, and further industrial action is planned. General Motors has announced it will be selling off its stake in the Ultium Cells LLC production facility that it co-owns in Lansing, Michigan, with Ultium co-owner LG Energy Solutions, leaving LG Energy Solutions the sole owner of the yet-to-be-completed facility. You might think this means that GM is selling out its Ultium Cells stake completely, and given that GM has signalled it's looking for other battery partners, that assumption might be logical. But GM was careful to reiterate this week in its statement that, at this time, it has no intention of selling its stake in the 2 other Ultium Cell production facilities that are operational in the US, both of which are already producing lithium-ion battery cells that it's being used in its current generation of EVs. GM and LG Energy Solution also announced an extension of their existing battery partnership to include developing new prismatic energy cells for use in future vehicles. Telematics connectivity is one of the killer features of modern EVs, allowing you, the owner, to check on your vehicle's state of charge, precondition the cabin, and so much more. And if you're a little nerdy, you might make use of unofficial third-party apps that extend functionality beyond the official app for your car, as I personally do with various Home Assistant plugins. And while most automakers haven't really been all that happy about third-party developers figuring out ways to use the company's API, Tesla has to date been pretty chill about it, as long as the developer doesn't do anything that poses harm to Tesla or its vehicles. That's now changed, and this week Tesla released details of a new pay-to-play setup for access for third-party app developers, meaning anyone who wants to build a third-party application for Tesla customers will now have to pay to access Tesla's API. One popular Tesla app developer, as reported by Electrek, says they'd face a bill of around $60 million a year to give customers API access, well above any income they actually receive from the sales of their app. The news came shortly after Tesla announced its new Apple Watch app. Aptera has officially confirmed that it will be unveiling its production intent version of its solar electric vehicle at CES 2025 next month. It began assembling its first production intent vehicles in September, using them to carry out final production validation and crash testing, but January's debut will be the first time a fully finished production intent model will be shown to the public. Aptera has stated it plans to begin limited volume production for its first customers next year, but this week also reopened its crowdfunding portal in order to raise an additional $60 million in capital to aid it in finalizing its early series production plans. If I had to guess, threatened trade tariffs in the US could cause Aptera additional headaches, but that is purely my own personal guess. Watch this space. Although it has dramatically slowed production of its just-released Explorer EV and Cupra EV in Europe, Ford pushed ahead this week with the launch of its newest European EV. Enter the Puma Gen-E, an all-electric variant of its already in-production Puma subcompact. Fitted with a 43 kilowatt-hour usable battery pack, it's the smallest EV in Ford's portfolio to date and offers a WLTP-claimed range of 233 miles, 374 kilometers per charge. While real-world range is likely to be less, the 5-door hatch does offer 100 kilowatt fast charging, which, considering its smallish capacity battery pack, isn't too shabby at all. Given that the ICE variant of the Puma, fitted with the EcoBoost engine, is Ford's #1 car right now in Europe, the brand hopes its EV variant can pick up sales where the Cupra EV and Explorer EV have failed. Australian mining company Fortiscue, which acquired UK engineering firm WAE Technologies a few years ago, has announced receipt of a massive $10 million Australian grant to continue development of a 6-megawatt fast charger. Currently, the fastest commercial charging stations top out at around a megawatt and are primarily used for charging long-distance big rigs, but the unit being developed by Fortiscue takes that to a whole new level, building infrastructure that's suitable for use with the massive 240-ton all-electric mining trucks Fortiscue is already operating at some of its facilities in Australia. In industrial applications like this, being able to refuel quickly is essential to keeping mining operations going efficiently. But looking forward, charging systems like this could have a future in other non-mining applications, like charging solutions for massive all-electric ships or ferries. While China is currently seen as the world's largest market for EVs, Norway has remained the world leader in EV market share thanks in part to its generous EV incentive programs. In place for more than a decade, we've watched as new car sales in Norway have become mostly electric, celebrating as they first went on par with gasoline vehicles, then all internal combustion engine vehicles, and then dominated new car registrations. Last month, Norway reached a new record, with 93.6% of new cars sold during November being all electric. To put that into perspective, 749 new vehicles registered were non-plug-in, 154 were plug-in hybrids, and the rest, 10,940? All electric, with Tesla enjoying the top 2 sales spots in the region. It's official. Following on from the ratification of Tesla's NACS by SAE as J3400, it's now become the officially adopted charging standard in the US. As announced midweek by the US Federal Highway Administration, because it's now become an SAE standard and is vehicle agnostic, J3400 will soon become the standard for future EV infrastructure in the US. This will also include the US National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program, NEVI for short, which currently holds that 4 CCS charging outlets be available at charging vehicles at a site for it to be considered eligible for federal funds. Moving forward, this will change to include J3400, and in related news, the SAE has also ratified a universal plug-and-charge standard with help from the US federal government, meaning that sometime next year, most EV owners with plug-and-charge compatible EVs will no longer have to worry about smartphone apps or RFID cards to initiate EV charging sessions. Our short shorts are coming next, but first a word from today's video sponsors, Energy Sage. Energy Sage helps homeowners connect with local, verified solar installers across the US and now heat pump specialists in select markets who really know their stuff and can help you navigate the process of installing solar panels, help you join a community solar program, or in fact, get a heat pump installed. I used Energy Sage when we were looking for installers willing to help us put solar panels on the roof of our home, and our Energy Sage verified installers were professional and knowledgeable and even put us in touch with an amazing credit union that allowed us to finance our solar panels for as low a monthly payment as possible. Follow the links below to sign up for either of Energy Sage's free, no-obligation services and get that ball rolling today. And with uncertainty surrounding the future of clean energy credits at the hands of the incoming Trump administration, there's no better time to sign up. If you choose to use an Energy Sage installer for your project, we will also get a small referral fee, so you'll be helping the channel out too. Help the grid get greener, save money, and support this channel? It's a win-win-win. And now, it's time for short shorts. Porsche has recalled the Macan EV over a problem with the vehicle's headlights. According to the official US recall notice, the vehicle headlights are simply too bright to meet safety standards and could blind oncoming traffic. The fix is an in-dealer, not OTA, software update. Tesla has recalled 27 Model Ys to address a potential issue with a faulty rear seat weld on the rear seat recliner mechanism. Given how few vehicles are affected, it appears this was just a glitch on the production line rather than a major safety concern. Responding to threats from incoming President Donald Trump to end all EV tax credits, California says it will look to reinstate its own subsidy program to help continue to encourage EV sales. It wants to reinstate its prior $7,500 rebate program. Following on from the launch of the refreshed second-generation Porsche Taycan, Audi has revealed its refreshed sibling to the same, the Audi RS e-Tron GT. Like the Taycan, it gets a brand new battery pack and a whole lot of tweaks, more range, and sadly, a higher price tag. BYD is rumoured to be working on revealing its next-generation Blade battery, built using LFP battery cells, early next year. It's not confirmed to have a reveal date yet, but it's rumoured to offer far higher energy density and power density compared to current generation models. Mercedes-Benz has a fairly long history of providing papal transport, and this week it delivered its first all-electric popemobile to the Vatican. While this isn't the first all-electric vehicle to have papal duties, this is the first all-electric model from Mercedes-Benz. Tesla has tweaked its vehicle software to allow owners the ability to heat the charge port door on their vehicles without heating the entire cabin. Because it has an electromechanical door release mechanism, it's prone to winter frosting up and not opening without prior heating. Rwanda's Ministry of Infrastructure has announced it wants to establish a requirement for EV charging infrastructure within the nation. It says it wants charging stations to be no more than 50 kilometres apart, about 31 miles, allowing citizens with EVs the ability to travel where they need to throughout the nation. Tesla stopped production of the Cybertruck for 3 days this week, with staff told to not turn up for work and assured that they would still be paid for the shift. Tesla has not publicly stated the reason for the production pause at the time of writing and filming the show. EV startup Telo has officially published its online configuration tool for its quirky pickup. Designed with affordability in mind, the company says the entry-level variant will start from $41,520 before any incentives. European budget performance brand Cupra, sibling to Seat and part of the Volkswagen Group, is exploring a partnership with Penske Automotive to bring its range of models to the US by 2030. This is early days, but if it comes to pass, ICE and EV models could arrive stateside. Several years ago, Tesla stopped allowing lease customers the ability to buy out their cars at lease end, stating it would keep those cars as robotaxis. But this week, it started to offer customers the chance to buy their leases out. It now has its own custom-designed robotaxi, after all. Battery swap company Gogoro has expanded its offering for Chile for the first time. It aims to help Chile electrify its two-wheel market by offering affordable battery swap options in major cities. It's being offered through a partnership with a local Chilean firm, Copec Voltex. The European arm of Chinese automotive firm Aways has officially entered onto the Nasdaq stock market following a reverse merger with Hudson Acquisition Corporation. Aways focuses on higher-end battery electric vehicles but hasn't sold in huge volumes. The court battle between Tesla and Rivian over alleged trade secret disclosure via headhunting looks like it's about to be settled. According to Bloomberg, both firms are approaching a conditional settlement agreement that could end the case by year's end. The Canadian government has unveiled the e-Auto Challenge program, a federally supported program that's hoping to increase research and development of zero-emission vehicles in Canada. With the US EV future uncertain, it's a smart move. Fiat Professional has celebrated producing its very first e-Ducato vans from a new production facility in Italy. It's the first Stellantis electric large van to be made at the facility and features a 110 kilowatt-hour battery pack plus a range of body options. Indian automaker Mahindra has launched the BE6E and XEV9E electric vehicles for sale in its home market. They will start at 18.9 lakh rupees and 21.9 lakh rupees respectively, far more affordable than some of the competition. BMW has shared more details this week about its new battery recycling facility in Lower Bavaria. Designed to pave the way for a future where BMW uses a closed-loop battery manufacturing process, it returns recycled materials straight back into battery production. Total Energies has paused its plans for an offshore wind farm off the eastern seaboard. Planned to be built east of New Jersey and south of New York, it has the potential to generate 3,000 megawatts of power, but now its future remains uncertain following the US election. The US state of Oklahoma has officially cancelled Tesla's NEVI funding for EV charging in the state and awarded it to EVgo instead. Tesla originally won the contract for expanding EV charging infrastructure, but failed to meet the terms of deployment it originally agreed to. The US Department of Energy has offered a conditional loan worth up to $7.54 billion to a new joint venture between Stellantis and Samsung that aims to build two brand new battery production facilities in the US. Audi has officially broken ground on a brand new battery production facility in Mexico. At the same time, when automakers are slowing down their investment in Mexican production facilities due to fears about future US tariffs, Audi's facility is still on track to make cells soon. The state of California will launch a new e-bike incentive program just before the holidays to allow income-eligible Californians up to $2,000 to purchase vouchers to allow them to buy a new electric bicycle. Applicants must first satisfy safety requirements before getting the vouchers, and they can only be used at approved e-bike retailers. Although we reported it in our last show and noted no official announcement had been made at the time by Nissan, we can now confirm that next week Nissan Ariya EV owners will finally gain access to Tesla's Supercharger network. Sadly, Nissan Leaf owners will be left out. Sorry. General Motors and EVgo have announced that they are now 2,000 co-branded charging stations installed across the US. Part of a partnership between the two firms, they've doubled the number of EVgo and GM Energy charging stations in just 16 months. Sticking with charging, Tesla has confirmed it's rolling out longer cabling at supercharger sites in the US to help address the challenge that comes from allowing EVs with differently located charging ports to use its originally closed charging network. Alphabet-owned Waymo is about to expand its robotaxi service to the East Coast in the US for the first time. Its robotaxis will soon enter into operation into Miami, Florida. It will give Waymo the most geographically diverse robotaxi fleet in the US. Jaguar has officially unveiled its first new vehicle since it went through its rebrand. Called the Jaguar Type 00, it's currently a concept and evokes the angular design language used nearly 100 years ago during the height of the Art Deco period. Hyundai is said to be in the process of planning an all-new electric model called the Ioniq 3. Just as the Ioniq 5 and Kia EV6 are the same car underneath, and the EV9 and the Ioniq 9 are separated at birth, the Ioniq 3, if it makes it into production, will share its underpinnings with the Kia EV3. Troubled eVTOL startup Lilium is now under investigation in the US. According to reporting from multiple sources, it's allegedly under investigation from the US Securities and Exchange Commission for statements made to investors about its financial solvency. Stellantis has unfortunately officially halted production again of the Fiat 500e just weeks after it resumed production following a previous halt. Questions are yet again being raised about demand for Fiat's pint-sized EV in both Europe and North America. We've actually got a video coming on small EVs very soon. In a similar vein, Stellantis has temporarily halted production of the Opel Astra EV amid fears about demand for the vehicle in its home market of Europe. Its sister model from the DS brand, the DS4, has also halted production at the same shared facility. These production cuts and poor sales were some of the reasons that Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares officially resigned from his position this week. Originally, he was expected to carry out the remainder of his appointment before a replacement was found, but his resignation is currently immediate. Lion Electric, Canadian electric school bus and commercial vehicle specialist, has officially furloughed some of its production line staff, with the hope that it can rehire them again soon. It had been hit with financial woes after its battery supplier Aptera hit tough times. Volkswagen has been talking up its Project Trinity for many years now, and with things at Volkswagen looking less than great lately, we'd assumed it had been cancelled. This week, though, we've learned that's not the case, with Volkswagen's new partnership with Rivian likely to lead to the first joint vehicle being a Project Trinity EV, basically an all-new, all-electric Volkswagen Golf. I'm finishing off today's shorts with a trio of stories about troubled battery firm Northvolt. This week, CATL denied that it was looking to acquire Northvolt to save it from bankruptcy, although some within the industry maintain that it's still unofficially considering it. Also this week, Volkswagen and Goldman Sachs, both of which have shareholdings in Northvolt, have officially written off their respective shares in their company. It's another sign that Northvolt's future is very uncertain as it looks to save itself from certain death. And that might happen because the European Commission is offering EV battery firms a chance in the share of €1 billion in funding to help them keep battery manufacturing in Europe. The only catch, applicant firms must not use Chinese materials, and it also might be just a little too late to save Northvolt. And those are your shorts. There will be more next week. Our final two stories are next, but first, a quick word from friend of the channel, Atmos Financial. Imagine a bank where your savings not only grow, but also grow a greener world. That's exactly what Atmos Financial does for you. With Atmos, every dollar in your checking and savings account is funding projects that light up lives with solar energy rather than fossil fuels. Atmos is banking that builds a better tomorrow with every swipe of your card today because it's 100% committed to investing in clean, equitable and sustainable progress. With a competitive savings rate and a mobile app, your finances and the climate can go hand in hand. It charges no monthly fees and there are no minimums keeping you awake at night. It also offers accessible solar loans for those who want to give the fossil fuel industry the ultimate middle finger. By joining Atmos using the link below, you're not only choosing a smarter way to bank, you're planting seeds for a healthier earth. And since every sign-up supports this channel, it means that we can keep bringing you the content you love. I'm personally a customer and I love knowing that I'm helping save money while also making sure that money doesn't end up funding the fossil fuel industry. As always, thanks to Atmos for sponsoring the show. And now it's time for those last two stories. As we've said plenty of times on this channel before, both Kate and I, and Michael in fact, are fans of classic cars, and we've all spent time turning wrenches on them. So when conversion kits come up in our newsfeed, you know we're going to look at them. This week though, we have something a little different. Instead of it being a vintage classic, it's something a little more modern. The iconic Mazda Miata, or MX-5 if you prefer. You can now buy a full plug-and-play kit for this iconic sports car thanks to UK specialist Electrogenic. For now, the kit, which offers 150 miles of range and a 100 kilogram, 220 pound weight increase on the original vehicle, is only available for the first generation MX-5, and as of the time of filming, the price hasn't been released yet. Still, if you've got the money and the love, it's now possible, and it's also a no drill or cut, meaning you can revert to petrol later. Although I can't imagine why. And finally, we've seen a dramatic rise in anti-EV sentiment in our comments section and on social media in general, and that's starting to leak into the real world as well. Some of that comes in the form of people harassing EV owners at charging stations or in the parking lot, and then of course there's the phenomenon of icing, internal combustion engine vehicle owners purposely, maliciously parking their vehicles in front of charging stations so that EVs can't. This week, courtesy of Inside EVs, we learn that the EV haters are now taking their trolling to a whole new level, with Amazon now selling what's being marketed as a fake prank EV charging port, but which, I'm sure we all realise, is actually designed to take up space at EV charging sites and stop EV owners from charging at all. I would say that my faith in humankind is now at an all-time low, but the reviews for this item on Amazon, well, they are a mix of trolling the trolls and karmic payback. EV charging station parking spaces are for EVs that are actively charging and nothing else. And on that note, we are done with today's show. As always, a huge thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring today's show. They've been advocating for electric vehicles since 1967 and firmly believe that our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green electric cars today. The EVA can help you find someone near to you that can help you make the switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. And if you become a member, you'll gain access to a clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EVA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. Find out more by heading to myeva.org. And thanks to Energy Sage. Follow the link below to find out how easy it can be to get verified, trustworthy solar experts helping you make the step towards energy self-sufficiency through solar on the roof of your home by joining a community solar project or by getting a heat pump installed. And thanks to Atmos Financial. Bank better by following the link below. And if you're someone who made your own transportation or energy greener this week, however you did it, great job. If you'd like to support the channel directly, please consider supporting us from $1 a month on Patreon, which is about $10.08 a year, or by visiting our swag store. We are viewer supported because we believe the information we provide should be free to everyone. So if you support us, thank you. I am really not being hyperbolic when I say you make this all possible. You really do. We'll be back next week as usual with content going out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. To finish, remember that you are valid, you are loved, and you have a place in this world. I know there's an increase in targeted hate aimed at minority communities right now by folks who are feeling particularly emboldened, but know that their hate is nothing compared to the awesomeness that you are capable of. Your continued existence just makes it harder for hate to get a foothold. Be inspirational, be bold, and do good. As they say, do well and let them say. So until next time, stay safe regardless of your identity or who you love, be an amazing ally, be kind, be the positive change you want to see in the world, and please, for the sake of everyone's future, don't let hate or ignorance win. Keep evolving!